Hello, I'm Zash, and welcome to episode 56 of my G-Senjou no Maou, where the double on G string lets read. Joining me, as always, is my co-reader Faith. Last episode, Mizuha was kidnapped by one of her classmates, Hashimoto. Hashimoto's father was the one blamed for the recent scandal. However, Mizuha's father was the true one to be blamed. And Hashimoto probably wants revenge for that. And now that Mizuha has been taken, instead of calling the cops, Kyosuke has decided to wait for Tokita to come help out. Let's hope this does not all end in tears. Please enjoy this next episode. Ellipses. I bite my lips and announce my decision. We had best wait for Tokita, at least for now. I look up at the school building. Usami spoke up, as if to gauge my reaction.
I think we should wait too, Asai-san.
There was a kindness in her gentle tone. It felt like she was trying to shoulder my anxiety. Mega ellipses. Ellipses.
I see. Hashimoto-kun thinks I shamed him.
A few dozen minutes later, Tokita arrived in a taxi. Do you know what he's talking about, Tokita?
He messed with Mizuha, so I scolded him a little.
Even in a situation like this, Tokita's light-hearted smile refuses to break.
Well, I'm here now. So what exactly does he want? He says he wants to talk to you.
None of the school's vast array of windows were illuminated. The staff room was completely silent, too.
Is that the staff room there?
I looked at the window Usami pointed to. A glimmer of light escaped the pitch-dark room. Was that a flashlight or something? Does that mean they're in there?
Yes, but that's not the staff room, is it?
Wait, isn't that our room? You mean the lab equipment storage room? Actually, I think it is.
They moved from the staff room?
Why would they do that?
Maybe he thought it'd be easier to keep track of two hostages in a small room.
It's possible. The medical storage closet is right next to the lab storage room. The closet has no windows and locks from the outside, so if he put them in there, he wouldn't have to worry about them escaping. Tokita nodded.
That's very astute of you two. He'll want to keep the hostages as close to him as possible, and locking them in a dark room takes away their sense of freedom.
Usami spoke up, as if asking for our confirmation.
Let's head over to the window and wave at it. As long as you keep your voice down. Right. We don't want some random person overhearing us and getting involved.
Or reporting it to the police. We can't allow the law to get wind of what's going on here. The nearby area is mostly public facilities rather than personal residences. But it's better to be safe than sorry.
Speaking of reporting, what are the chances of the school's security noticing something is up?
There aren't any officers patrolling the school on a Sunday night, and Miss Noriko would have turned off the alarm system on her way in. So for all security knows, it's just a teacher doing overtime.
Even so, people will start to get suspicious if the security system stays off for too long. I see. We should consider that the captor has a time limit then.
Tokita mutters as if impressed, and waves at the window.
Ellipses.
Ellipses. Only there was no response from the lab equipment storage room.
Strange. He should be able to see us from in there.
Yeah, it's pretty light outside.
Right?
We were puzzled for a short while. Are you shitting me? I'll end up charging in there at this rate. He didn't seem to be joking. I looked for the source of the ringing, and Tokita had her phone in hand.
Is it our man? Most likely. I never gave Hashimoto-kun my number, though.
He must have gotten it from Shiratori.
Must have.
Tokido put the phone to her ear.
Hello, Hashimoto-kun? Yeah, sorry for being late. Yes. How's Mizuha doing?
I heard Hashimoto's shout every now and then.
Yes, thank you.
Tokido was completely calm, nodding deeply. After talking for a good while, Tokido said something that sounded like the end of the conversation.
I understand.
I'll call again later. You better as hell stay right where you fucking are.
A belligerent voice poured out from Tokido's receiver, and the call ended. What did he say? Tokido's eyes fell to the ground.
It seems he wants to complain to me.
She shook her head.
Don't come into the school, don't call the police. These were his 2 orders.
What's his objective?
We'll find that out soon enough.
She laughed lightly.
This brings back memories, Haru. Yeah,
What?
there was a similar incident to this at our last school. A girl who'd been dumped by her boyfriend took him hostage and holed herself up in a classroom. The teachers couldn't get through to her at all. Things were looking bad for a while. Then, right when they were to call the police, Yuki stepped in to negotiate. I like that they have her doing it, though.
Yeah.
Like, because it does happen that way, but
Yeah.
rarely does media portray it that way. 10 out of 10.
I'll bet it was a walk in the park from that point.
I don't know about you, but I've never had a stroll like that. I was nearly killed.
Oh, this is Kyosuke, and he has Yakuza ties.
Yeah, I'm pretty... Every time he meets his dad, he has a stroll like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
As if the situation weren't complicated enough. Her boyfriend seemed to have a thing for me.
Oh, maybe because you came galloping to his rescue from his
Yeah.
current psycho girlfriend?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of understandable, or did he have one to begin with?
Yeah,
You're tall
that
and
might-
hot, what do you got?
Yeah.
With a girlfriend like that who's willing to take you hostage, he could have absentmindedly said, "Wow, she's pretty," and that would have been,
Yeah.
that would have been
Yeah.
enough.
Yandere's.
I love him.
Oh, snap. That must have been chaos. I mean, you were her rival in love. But to be able to persuade her, even in such unfavorable conditions.
Let's try to get back on topic for a moment. Kosuke-kun, I'd like you to do me a favor before Hashimoto-kun calls again.
A favor? I have a bad feeling about this.
I need you to gather as many men as possible and set up a perimeter around the school.
Hey now, you don't mean...
Yes, I do. People from your organization would be ideal considering the circumstances.
She wants me to call the Sonoyama group out here?
We have to make sure the culprit doesn't get away.
Not you too.
As it stands, we don't even have enough people to watch the doors.
And presumably he could escape through a window just as easily.
You should also consider that we are now in the most dangerous phase of the negotiation process. The half-hour period following the initial kidnapping. Sometimes called the anger stage, if you'll pardon the jargon.
What's that?
It's the period when the hostage taker is at the height of his agitation and has become impossible to deal with. A perpetrator experiencing this phase might use violence to control his hostages, and would likely kill any police or negotiators who get too close. He wouldn't even bat an eyelash.
Alright, I see why it's dangerous, but surely we have better options than resorting to my compatriots, right?
The extent to which we are able to surround the culprit at this stage is a determining factor in the success of the negotiation.
But won't that just further agitate the culprit?
It will. And your men are incredibly intimidating to boot, so the effect will be compounded.
Then why would we want to go through with all this? Don't piss them off for no reason. I mean, you're here to negotiate with them, right? Tokita shot me a glare, as if reprimanding me for my stupidity.
It's precisely because I'm here to negotiate that we need to force our opponent.
I'd never seen Tokida's eyes bear the anger I saw in them then. Most likely, this anger was born from the threat to her sister's life.
From what I could tell by speaking with him, Hashimoto seems very close to the edge. He might kill Mizuha at any moment. Do you think someone like that can simply be talked down?
I didn't know what to say.
What do the police have that we don't, Kyosuke? What does a police negotiator bring to the table that allows them to negotiate with these loons on more than equal ground?
Special training? Tokita nods in confirmation, but then immediately frowns.
Yes, but more importantly, safety from the special assault team waiting to jump out from behind him or her. If the police hold a break down the door, guns ablazing trump card, then the culprit will hesitate to use his execute the hostages trump card.
That's true.
But what about the current situation? As we speak, the culprit is holed up in the lab equipment storage room. However, he's free to kill the hostages and make his escape at any time. Do you really think we can negotiate properly like this?
I follow you. We need some sort of deterrence.
Words are weapons. But they're only weapons when violence is hiding somewhere, ready to back them up.
She said this with a hint of despair for some reason. I guess I have no other choice. I take out my cell and call Gonzo. Looks like it's going to be a long night. Megalipses. Ellipses. In less than an hour, a group of young Sonoyama recruits had gathered at the school. Damn, son! You're really working us to the bone! I'm very sorry. Nah, don't worry about it. We can deal with a little hell or high water if it means helping you out. I couldn't get through to Gonzo. I had to call Horibe instead. And as for hell, that's what'll be coming my way later. Oh, we just closed up the last gap in the perimeter. We do this to debtors' houses all the time, but this is the first time we've done a job at a school. He flashed his demonic smile again. I'm sure that not even an ant could get out of the school grounds now. So, standard procedure then? You want we should keep Tomenbetsu's finest from catching wind of our little operation? Right. Try not to stand out. Got it. If anyone passes by, we'll make sure they keep their mouths shut. That's our specialty. In the case that someone actually does pass by, they won't want to get involved with the Yakuza. Thank you for everything. I owe you one. Hey, like I said, don't worry about it. But maybe that one should be a couple of 100,000. You know what I mean? This is going to be expensive. Even with a hostage being held in a school, these people aren't about to work for free out of some sense of justice. Well, the boys are all yours. I have work to get back to. Horibe leaves with an unpleasant smile, driving away in a Mercedes-Benz. Hey, Kyosuke. Who the hell was that guy? One of Papa's acquaintances. A bad person. There's more to you than meets the eye. I'm not a transformer. And Mum's the word about all this, alright? Oh, believe me, I get it. Hell, if I'm going to be thrown into Tokyo Bay... It seems Hashimoto hasn't called.
I'm back.
Usami had left the school grounds earlier. Oh yeah, you said you were going to get some tools or something. What did you bring?
I bought this at an electrical appliance store in Agiba the other day.
She produces a little radio-like device as she speaks to me.
This allows for hands-free two-way communication when installed on a cell phone.
Oh yeah, I've seen people use those things in meetings and the like.
You want me to strap that to my cell?
Tokita's voice held doubt.
I want to hear what's going on too. I see. Don't worry, I'll leave the negotiating to you. I won't say anything. I promise. If you insist.
Tokita doesn't sound fully convinced.
You said it yourself, Yuki. Negotiations should be done as a team. New York police do that too. The necessary roles are primary negotiator, secondary negotiator, assistant negotiator, and what else? Chief negotiator, and then miscellany. But even large police organizations sometimes don't dispatch instructors and the like. Well, we have 4 people right here.
Tokita put her finger to her brow, as if trying to collect her thoughts.
I thought it might distract me. But okay, let's do it together.
What are the different roles?
They're not too convoluted. The primary negotiator negotiates, the secondary negotiator keeps records of the situation, the chief negotiator makes the decisions. The important thing is that we keep out of each other's way.
So, the primary doesn't make decisions and the chief doesn't talk to the criminal?
It helps us keep our objectivity. For example, it's not unheard of for a primary negotiator to empathize with the culprit after a drawn-out negotiation, eventually accepting the conditions that are advantageous to the culprit rather than the law.
But you're saying things like that won't happen if someone else is in charge of making the decisions, right?
Not to mention the fact that if the decisions are made by someone besides the primary negotiator, we have a more diverse set of tactics available to us. Remember the game of Good Cop, Bad Cop we played with Saijou?
It's more than a month late, but I finally understand what she was doing. You mean that's the whole, I want to help you, but the big bad wolf Kyosuke won't let me. I'm so sad, Saijou-san. What should I do? Was all about?
Yes, honey. So, it couldn't have been more clear. I apologize for using you like that.
It's okay. I understand. Now, how should we divide the roles? I look around at everyone's faces. With Tokita as the primary, obviously. It looks like I'd make the best chief negotiator.
Yes, you're quite good at keeping your calm. You always act according to what will cost or profit you.
She talks like she knows me, but the woman's right.
For instance, let's say the culprit demands a cigarette.
Okay.
When he makes the request, it's my job to ask for your permission before handing him one. You would then decide whether or not I could give him the cigarette based on your own judgment.
But if you said I couldn't, you might oppose my decision, right?
Correct. But let's try to keep the infighting to a minimum, shall we?
The very nature of teamwork and coordination make friction like that inevitable. Alright, Usami is the secondary negotiator.
As you command. Prepare a notepad if you can. I want to have a record of my conversation with the culprit. Reading back on what was just said helps me grasp the situation calmly.
I had a feeling y'all would shaft me with the intern's job. I'm the assistant, right?
It may sound like you got the short stick, but it's no joke, Eiichi.
Huh?
For example, if the culprit demands a midnight snack, you'd go buy it.
Yeah? What's your point?
Well, don't you think the man would be somewhat perturbed if the snack wasn't nice and warm?
Alright, I'll do it. Aichi's face tensed up. Alright, let's get ready to rock and roll. I attached my little spy microphone to Tokita's cell. Usami pulled a notepad out from her pocket and readied a pen.
Now, all we can do is wait.
Indeed. All that's left is to wait for Hashimoto to call us. A good while passed before Tokita's cell broke the dead silence. Megalipses. Ellipses.
Tokita Yuki had held an interest in criminal negotiations from a young age. Yuki's mother had been a famous artist. At the request of community service organizations and certain members of organized crime rings, she had often visited prisons as a special guest. The young Yuki, who had always waited patiently for her mother outside those tall cement walls, began to hold an interest in the people forced to live on the other side. When she finally built up the courage to ask her mother about the prisoners there, Yuki's heart raced in excitement. Adults, the very people who say we shouldn't do bad things, were doing bad things. She wanted to know how the minds of these criminals worked. Why would someone kill someone else? Why would they steal? What drove that person so far away from normalcy? I want to speak with a criminal. The child's innocent yet unbridled interest troubled her mother. The girl had even tried to sneak into the prison with her once. The more she was told she couldn't, the more her interest waxed into a fervor. Because inside those walls lurked a darkness that a child would not be allowed to enter. Even so, Yuki managed to contact the criminal. A letter addressed to her mother came from a prisoner that she had once visited. Yuki begged her mother to read it to her, but her mother, with the good sense that comes with parenthood, would never let her lay an eye on it. However, while the brilliant little girl was not allowed to read the letter, she memorized the prisoner's name on the envelope. After some time passed and the prisoner was released on parole, Yuki made up an excuse to visit the parole office. You sent a letter to my mother once, a long time ago. Her wish was fulfilled, and she finally met with the ex-convict. By then, her mother had passed away, and Yuki was living in an orphanage. In a place full of people who had closed and hardened their hearts, Yuki still managed to stay full of energy. She actively talked to people, trying to understand their thoughts and their feelings. It may have been a child's way of coping with a father who abandoned her and a mother who died. It may have been an attempt to come to understand herself by understanding children in the same situation she was. She wasn't afraid to meet those people whom society had branded as felons. She had heard much about them from her mother. But more importantly, to the desperately lonely Yuki, there was nothing left to lose. She met with them once or twice a month. They were mostly kind-hearted people. She believed that it was some mistake of the laws that led to their imprisonment. Some of them even treated her like she was their own daughter. Yuki evaded the strict, unforgiving eyes of the orphanage staff, and enjoyed dialogue after dialogue with men who had erred. Yuki would later find out that those beloved conversations she occasionally snuck out to hold bore some similarities to hostage negotiation and counter-terrorist training programs. It said that profiling, the painting of a psychological portrait of a criminal, is a skill that cannot be learned through the study of theory. There's no formal methodology for reading others' minds, and the most one can glean from a field manual was supposedly no more useful than a compilation of tips and tricks. Practice makes perfect, as they say, and actual experience is vital to success. In testament to this, government negotiations training programs require the cadet to conduct personal interviews with criminals in controlled environments such as prison. In theory, this provides a surrogate experience that aids in negotiators' first few encounters. However, while these criminals had opened up to the eager girl Yuki, they occasionally admitted to lying to the officers who visited them for official business. Through these experiences, Yuki subconsciously absorbed the patterns among criminals who committed crimes with deep-rooted motives and passions. When she thinks back objectively, Yuki realizes she was a strange child.
And in other breaking news, water is wet?
While her friends read young girls' comics, she immersed herself in criminal psychology books. But the more she read, the more she understood that the patterns she experienced firsthand agreed with the words of renowned scholars. The girl, entranced in her studies, eventually grew into a mature, somewhat far-sighted woman. These days, Yuki analyzes herself as such. A petty girl, unable to trust people without properly analyzing them, merely because she was abandoned by her father. Still, even that petty girl had things she refused to give up, things she wanted to protect. Yuki took a deep breath, shaking off the negativity within her. The negotiations were about to begin. First, she should decide her goals in negotiating. It's important to have an objective when talking to people. Yuki chose a gentle tone of voice, so as not to meaninglessly irritate the culprit. I'm happy you called again.
What the hell are you trying to pull, Tokita?
Hashimoto's voice angrily rampaged from Usami's equipment.
I thought I fucking told you not to call the cops.
Calm down, Hashimoto-kun.
Huh?
These men aren't police officers. Look out the window, Hashimoto-kun. Do you see the lights of a single patrol car?
He sucked in a breath and held it.
Then who the hell are they?
They're Kyosuke-kun's friends.
As I?
Yes, and they're really quite a vulgar crew. In a way, they're the exact opposite of the police. So calm down.
You surrounded the school, didn't you?
I won't deny it.
Don't mess around with me, you little bitch. You know who I've got in here, right? You want I should beat your half-sister to death?
His voice was downright crooked. Though I'm in the same class as Hashimoto, I haven't talked to him much. I can't believe a guy my age would take a few hostages and set up shop in a school. It's just too surreal. People talk about increasing rates of juvenile delinquency all the time, but even seeing it with my own eyes doesn't shake the notion that all of this is just happening behind some television screen. What drove Hashimoto to this?
I don't give a rat's ass about your dad, the cop, or whatever shit you're pulling, but don't piss me off. Do I need to chuck that brawling teacher in the next room right out of the damn window?
Indeed, you do have the power to do that right now. But, Hashimoto-kun, Miss Noriko's not really the one you're after, is she?
Maybe not, but giving examples is important, ain't it?
Tokita closed her eyes and thought for a moment.
I'll admit that I've been looking down on you, Hashimoto-kun.
What?
I thought that writing on the blackboard was the best you could do.
Is that fucking so? Well, too bad. It's too late to come clean, bitch.
I completely agree. Who would have even dared to imagine you might sneak into a school at night and take Mizuha and Miss Noriko hostage?
As she speaks, a sense of superiority builds in Hashimoto's voice.
Huh. You supposedly studied psychology? What a jerk.
You have every right to laugh. I'm just an amateur. I have very little actual experience.
And she adds, sighing.
I apologize for scolding you at school.
She did corner Hashimoto in the hallway.
Your ass kissing ain't gonna pull one over me, woman.
I realize that. You're good at sports, and the very best when it comes to grades. A top-notch student like yourself wouldn't do something so bold without a good, strong plan.
He laughs. No, scoffs at her words.
Alright, Tokita. I'll play along. You want me to tell you my demands, right?
I'd love for you to.
Hashimoto declares his sole objective with an air of composure.
Money.
Money?
Even Tokita was taken aback.
2.5 million plus 50,000. Add another 3 million on top for damages. The money's got to be old man Shiratori's, or it's no use to me.
2.5 million plus 50,000?
Yeah? What, are you stupid? I want the dough, the director's embezzle. Hell if I know what the 50,000 was for. Bastard probably played the front nine at some country club somewhere.
His objective was money?
This may sound brazen, but is that really what you want?
Hey, are you trying to look down on me again?
Why would you think that?
Look, Papa Director's a sorry fuck of a man. He sold my dad to the cops to save his own ass. Usually I want him to turn himself in.
That's exactly what I was expecting.
But there's no way he's getting any jail time for this. The second they cuff him, he'll get off with some suspended sentence bullshit. Well, I guess I can't complain though. Same goes for my old man.
Hashimoto has a point. It's common for cases involving bribery to result in suspended sentences. It's safe to say that what Hashimoto really wants to see here, the director getting thrown into prison, won't be happening.
I see. I was wondering how you intended to keep the police from getting involved if your demand had been the director's arrest.
I ain't gonna play with the cops. I have a future too.
You're a famous basketball player, after all.
I feel bad about dragging Miss Noriko into this. The original plan was to just take Shiratori hostage.
What made the plan change?
When I abducted Shiratori at the gate and brought her into the school, I actually bumped into Noriko in the corridor.
So why did you choose the school?
Because I figured the cops would probably be brought into all this. If that happened, I'd obviously be screwed. But can't you see the school's reputation going straight to hell?
I see. Who would want to enlist in a school which had a hostage crisis? Even if he ruined himself, his revenge on the school would be exacted.
How did you know we'd be at school today?
You don't remember talking to Isaiah about it 2 days ago? I overheard you, but boy, you bitches kept me waiting in this weather for a damn long time.
Tokita sighed.
Mizuha has a critical bargaining chip for you. She's still safe, correct?
I wouldn't be able to strike a deal if she wasn't.
After that, there was a little rummaging and mumbling.
Dad-san.
It was Shiratori's voice.
Mizuha, are you injured?
Oh, my head just hurts a little.
That's enough from you.
Hashimoto butted in.
You get the situation, right? Your cute little sister's fine. Whether or not she stays that way depends on you.
Did you choose me because I'm Mizuha's sister?
Yup, I figured you'd make damn sure the director cooperated.
I see. You really thought this out. Shall I call the director here?
Immediately.
Immediately is unreasonable. It takes an hour at least to get from Mizuha's house in the southern district to here.
I think an hour is a bit of an exaggeration.
His daughter's life is on the line here. He'll get here fast if he knows what's good for him.
I understand how you feel, but it snowed quite a bit yesterday. There are closed roads scattered about the city.
Shit.
Still, I'll try to get him down here as soon as possible.
You got 30 minutes.
That would be difficult. Give me at least 40.
I heard Hashimoto click his tongue.
Alright, but if he's so much as 1 second late, I'll put a nice honking scar on his daughter's cute little face.
Tokita's expression shifted at that outrageous threat.
Thank you. I'll hurry and call him. When the director gets here, I'm to call you, correct?
Usama quickly jots the number Hashimoto gives into her notepad.
And hurry it the fuck up. I'll say it one more time. I'm not playing games.
The call ends. Tokita folds her arms and groans after hanging up the phone.
Well, we have his demands, but
But what?
he's got a working head on his shoulders and he seems to have the guts to back it up.
Really? I've never thought of Hashimoto as being a ballsy guy. Wasn't he always real quiet on campus? He kept saying, "Don't piss me off," and "I'm not playing games." Stupid crap like that. He seems pretty spineless to me. Tokita slowly shook her head.
A truly spineless captor will do things like point unloaded guns at the police, or shove knives in the hostages' faces to show off. The most confident people do not need to do posturing.
Yeah.
But what does our man do? Sure, he curses up a storm, but he's thinking about covering his own backside on the next step when he makes his demands. Demands which are entirely feasible, mind you.
That's true. Tokita's eyes narrowed.
I don't intend to lecture you here, but there are different types of hostage-taking criminals. He's the calm type, with clear demands.
What does the textbook say about dealing with that type?
We just have to be patient, and carry out a true negotiation. The criminal is calm, so these cases can usually be settled with a compromise.
That's kind of abstract.
You asked for a textbook, I gave you textbook. In any case, we've already made a compromise, haven't we?
Yeah. You offered to retrieve the director in an hour, and he haggled for 30 minutes.
Then I changed my offer to 40 minutes, and he accepted.
I see. If Hashimoto were just another pissed-off asshole, he wouldn't have budged. You would have been stuck with 30 minutes. Aichi suddenly raised his hand. Shouldn't we be calling the director?
Indeed. But before that, Aichi-kun, I've got your first job lined up for you.
Huh?
I want you to run down to the convenience store at the corner and buy a cheap all-purpose phone charger.
Sure. Got it. We'd be in deep shit if Tokita's phone died.
Usually we wouldn't be using a cell phone, but that's out of our control.
Ichi dashed off immediately. Was he worried about Miss Noriko? He didn't screw around like he usually does.
I'll call Mizuha's house.
Do you think you'll be able to persuade him to come out here?
It should be fine. That man is clay in my hands. He doesn't want any trouble.
Tokita's typical voice grew a touch darker. Usami, do you want to add anything?
No, I had my hands full writing everything down.
I look at Usami's notepad. What the hell are you drawing? The paper had nothing but a cartoonish portrait on it.
Lupin, duh.
Hey!
As in the third.
I don't give a shit if he's the 3rd or the 13th. What the fuck are you doing, Usami?
Sorry, crisis situations give me this unbearable urge to count prime numbers while drawing Lupin.
I don't even know what to say anymore.
Jokes aside, it's Hashimoto-san.
Oh. Well, it does somewhat resemble him.
Yeah, I can't write in shorthand, so I thought I'd rely on a picture instead of copying down that long conversation.
Alright, I getcha. But I'll tell you what, you're one hell of a backwards chick.
This doesn't have anything to do with my role as secondary negotiator, but
What?
look at the lab equipment storage room.
I follow her suggestion.
See the light from the flashlight flickering?
What about it?
Well, Yuki just said that Hashimoto-san is calm.
Ellipses.
Doesn't it look more like he's pacing around the room?
Yeah, actually. Do you think something happened? I casually glance over at Tokita, who was in the middle of informing the director of the crisis.
Yes. You understood the situation, correct?
But I just can't believe it.
Then why don't you come down here and see for yourself? We can decide whether or not you want to accept his conditions when you get here.
If word about this leaks to the public...
Hold your horses. The captor is trying to avoid police intervention too. Then again, if you don't get down here soon, our worst case scenarios may play out in full.
Tokita's typically gentle tone was nowhere to be seen. The director had apparently abandoned Tokita and her mother, so I would assume she's somewhat bitter about it. If I were on the phone, I'd probably just shout, "Your daughter's life is in danger! Get the fuck out here!"
Please, father.
I couldn't believe my eyes. Tokita spoke with respect to the father she hates with all her being. This woman just threw away her bountiful pride for the sake of saving her sister's life.
Alright, I'll be there straight away.
After his stifled voice cut off, Tokita's phone rang out to inform us that the call had ended.
Haru, I think you're absolutely right.
Tokita returned to her former mood as she spoke.
I may have been too quick to judge the captor's personality. I'll try calling him again.
Wait, weren't you supposed to wait until the director arrived to make the call?
At this rate, it looks like we'll need more than 40 minutes. We have to buy some more time.
Alright. I reluctantly nodded. In any case, you did well to convince the director to come out here. My praise only caused Tokita to miserably stare at her feet.
Actually, standard protocol demands that one never summon someone a criminal wants to speak to. What if Hashimoto's real objective was to kill the director?
Ellipses.
The real reason I got the director to come is because I want to see him own up to his mess.
I had no room to criticize Tokita.
I'm so sorry. But I'm only human. I can't go against my heart. Hey, better you do this than set a guy on fire. It's a step up.
Yep, big ellipses. And if the director gets killed, you didn't murder him. Hashimoto did. Ellipses. After biding her time for a moment, Tokita called Hashimoto.
That was fast.
Good news. The director is on his way as we speak.
Glad to hear. Now you're going to say that he's not going to be here in time, and that you want more time, right?
Tokita laughed.
Looks like there's no point in trying to pull a wool over your eyes.
I told you not to underestimate me.
I know that well enough by now. By the way, what are you doing at the moment, Hashimoto-kun?
What am I doing? I'm being stared down by your sister.
Mizuha and the director both are actually relatively timid. She's just bluffing, so would you mind letting her off the hook just this once?
Hashimoto snorts.
Sure, she got nothing to do with this shit, her old man told her. I mean, I get cold stares all day long because of my old man. Love a crock of shit if you ask me.
Oh, I absolutely agree. It's just wrong to be so cruel to people as invaluable to the school as you are, wouldn't you agree?
Oh please, your nose is brown enough already, Tokita. You've probably got no idea since you're newer now, but there are tons of great athletes here, and I don't just mean basketball players. Look at the skating ring over there. You want to talk invaluable? As I cannon's invaluable.
But I heard you're one of the best. You play center position, don't you?
Of course. What about it?
I'm tall too, you know. I've been approached by both the basketball team and the ballet club, so I'm a little interested.
There's no way a scrawny chick like you could play basketball.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way. I tried out and played for my last school's team. I bought a pair of basketball shoes that were endorsed by Pippen, but I quit a week later and haven't worn them since.
Scottie Pippen? Now that's one hell of an athlete.
He played for the Chicago Bulls, right?
Yeah, but he's retired now. Jordan was always the one who got all the attention, but it's Pippen that's made the Bulls such a good team.
Teamwork is really important, isn't it?
Hashimoto laughed loudly in response.
Yeah, you got me there.
What do you mean?
Teamwork. You know as well as I do that I can't get what I want without your cooperation.
Good to have you on board. We should be able to come to a compromise.
If you're a good girl and accept my conditions, everything will be just fine. We can all go on with our cheery little school lives tomorrow.
That's all I want. The last thing I'd like to see is these terrifying ruffians roughing in to beat you to a pulp.
And I'd hate to see you fall into the pit of despair and after the murder of your beloved sister.
Oopsies.
Like Tokita said, Hashimoto really does have a good head on his shoulders. He's constantly grasping for the lead in his conversation with Tokita.
Well, where's the man of the hour?
Still on his way, unfortunately.
It's quite a problem. If he keeps taking his damn time, some nice little lady who's in her community watch program might call the cops. Then we'd have a real shitstorm on our hands.
I realize that. And trust me, I'm with you. I'd like him to get here as soon as possible. So,
She paused for a while, then spoke up decisively.
would you like me to get you anything?
Trying to win me over again? Alright, I'll give you credit for taking over the director so easily.
Thanks. So do you want a hamburger or something?
Unfortunate. I'm not too hungry. I've seen captures on TV and all release hostages for pizza. But when you're really in there doing it, you gotta lose your appetite. I can't imagine ever needing food in this situation.
Really? It happens a lot in America.
Alright, if I get hungry enough I'll ask, but I don't need anything right now. Tell me what? Why don't you tell me about your first time instead?
I've unfortunately never dated anyone. Maybe my pride gets in the way or something.
You shitting me?
He laughs vulgarly. He seems pretty immature when he acts like that.
Are you trying to knock me off guard by asking such lewd things?
Hashimoto held his breath.
Yeah, you got me. I think I've guessed it wouldn't work out on you.
What a sly creature.
I'm cutting the call. I'm sick of talking. If you want me to get something, get drinks. A sports drink would be good. Your sister's looking pretty thirsty too.
A sports drink. Alright, I'll call you in a bit.
The area was bathed in silence once more.